It's a riddle that is spooky Hollywood for more than 35 years, was on-screen character Natalie Wood's awkward suffocating passing in 1981 a shocking mishap for murder? The then 43-year-old was remaining on her yacht off the shoreline of Santa Catalina Island, California, amid the taping of the motion picture Brainstorm in late November 1981 when she disappeared one night. She was found the following morning about a mile away, dead and gliding in the water, wearing a wool robe and red down coat. Following a 2-week examination, the police managed her demise a mishap, yet bits of gossip have twirled as far back as that something more vital happened. The yacht's different travelers, Brainstorm co-star Christopher Walken, yacht commander Dennis Davern and Wood's two-time spouse, Wagner, had given clashing explanations, and it was never evident how or why Wood, who was scared of profound water, wound up in the sea or why the yacht's soiled washed shorewards adjacent. In 2011, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office revived the case and the next year, the coroner altered Wood's dissection decision from unplanned suffocating to suffocating and other decided elements. As we've examined the case in the course of the most recent 6 years, I believe he's even more a man of intrigue now, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Lieutenant John Coroner told 48 Hours. That is to say, we know now that he was the last individual to be with Natalie before she vanished. Conceived Natalie as a Trinco in San Francisco, Wood started going about as a tyke and earned awards for her execution in the occasion exemplary Miracle on 34th Street, at 8 years old. After a progression of littler parts on the of all shapes and sizes screens, Wood developed into an adolescent ingenue in verse James Dean in the film Rebel Without a Cause in 1955, a part that turned her a Best Supporting Actress Oscar selection. In her 20s, Wood flaunted her singing and moving cleaves in the musicals West Side Story and Gypsy, and, after a short vocation hush, earned 2 all the more Best Actress Oscar assignments for her widely praised work in Splendor in the Grass and Love with the Proper Stranger. Wood got comfortable with Wagner at the absolute starting point of her vocation, nursing a pound on the performing artist, 8 years her senior, subsequent to seeing him on the studio part when she was 10. I swung to my mom and stated, "I will wed him," Wood told People in 1976. What's more, she did, twice. Their sentimental relationship started as a positively old Hollywood course of action. The combine were set up by exposure-seeking studio heads from 20th Century Fox when Wood turned 18, accepting she'd be the ideal counterpart for the dashing best-in-class on-screen character. They were hitched without precedent for 1957, yet separated from 5 years after the fact. In 1962, both proceeded onward to wed and have kids with other individuals. Wood left her second spouse, British maker Robert Gregson, in 1971. Not long after the introduction of their little girl Natasha. Inside 3 months of her second separation, Wood was strolling down the walkway once more, remarrying Wagner in 1972. They had a girl, Courtney, and were apparently glad to have had another opportunity at adoration, just to see it cut off by Wood's passing. Yet, would they say they were extremely cheerful? In November 2011, the examination was revived after Dennis Davern, the yacht's commander that decisive night, approached to freely concede that he had deceived specialists and did not unveil that Wagner and Wood had gotten into a hazardous contention just before her vanishing. As indicated by Davern, Wagner had crushed a wine bottle on an end table, inciting Walken to withdraw to his room. The couple's contention proceeded and Davern said that when he endeavored to intercede, Wagner requested him to take off. Not long after, Wood was all of a sudden gone. But rather as indicated by Davern, her better half didn't appear to be excessively concerned. I think it involved, we are not going to look too hard, we're not going to turn on the searchlight, we're not going to inform anyone at the present time. Asked out and out on the off chance that he thought Wagner was in charge of Wood's passing, Davern answered, "Indeed, I would say as much. Truly." In 2012, the examination report was corrected to never again characterize Wood's demise as a mischance, throwing new light on other, less revealed points of interest. The on-screen character's body had crisp wounds and, as indicated by one analyst, she resembled the casualty of an attack. The coroner's unique report noticed Wood's blood liquor level demonstrated she had been drinking, and her toxicology comes about discovered hints of both a painkiller and a pill for movement infection. The report induced that she may have slipped and fallen over the edge. The report's 10-page revision in 2012 expressed that how Wood wound up in the water was not plainly settled and that her wounds may have been caused before she vanished. "We have not possessed the capacity to demonstrate this was a crime," Detective Ralph Hernandez told 48 Hours. "What's more, we haven't possessed the capacity to demonstrate this was a mischance, either. A definitive issue is we don't know how she wound up in the water." Despite the fact that Wagner has freely denied having any contribution in Wood's demise, incorporating into his 2009 diary, his refusal to collaborate with examiners is a noteworthy warning. While Walken lawyered up when the case was revived, he likewise met with examiners and isn't viewed as a suspect. As the last individual to see Wood alive, criminologists have attempted and neglected to re-interview Wagner different circumstances throughout the most recent 6 years, driving them to think about whether he knows more than he's at any point let on. "I haven't seen him tell the subtle elements that match the various observers for this situation," Lieutenant Coroner told 48 Hours. "I believe he's always showed signs of change his story a tad. What's more, his variant of occasions simply don't make any sense."